So we saw that we can use Excel together with the Visual Basic for applications if we have the developer ribbon installed, or let's say displayed, and if we save our file as a macro enabled Excel file. So save as, we're gonna say, we say Excel macro -enable workbook. You can select here when you're going to save your file. There are many types you can choose from, and of course you have to be sure that it's an Excel macro enabled workbook. That is very important. It can be also a macro enabled template, but we're gonna skip this for the moment. We already saved this as a macro enabled workbook, previous example. So we're gonna back, and now we can start to work with the Visual Basic for applications. But first of all, I want to show you this area. This is the most important part for you that you're gonna start off with Visual Basic. So this section here, the code section. So the first part is the Visual Basic. Here is the Visual Basic Editor. You can press Alt F11 and go to this page. Or if you click over the Visual Basic icon here, you will see we are redirected to an editor. This is the Visual Basic for Applications editor that is divided in 4 areas. And the first area is at the top, is the menu area where you can select among different functions, like in every other program: file, edit, view, insert, format, debug, run, tools, add-ins, window, etc. In this area here we have the project tree. That means that we have a graphical representations of all the open project, or of all the possible projects that include Visual Basic codes, because a Visual Basic code is organized in projects, and within a project there are different components, and we will see that in the next videos. Here I have an add-in in a special function like a library visit, and here we have another one. I don't want to talk about them because I just show you because they are available in my computer as add-ins, but I want to skip that for a moment. Let's focus on this document, and as you can see here we have the list of projects in this part of all the open Excel documents. If you can see here, I have opened different documents: info for catalog, customer list, sales detail, invoice, example, VBA. Okay, I have 5 files, and they are all listed here with the name of the project, of the VBA project, and in brackets the name of the Excel file. Here the first 2 are add-ins, and the extension is XLAM, and the others are, for example, this one, customer list, it's a normal Excel file, so it's .xls. And then we have, if I drag this, I can see more. I have my XSLM file and another XSLX file here. These 3 have as project name the VBA project default name. So if you don't have given another name to your project, the VBA project is the default name for a project. Here we are, and here you see below this list you have the properties of this project. So here you have project, and then you see here we have our project, and you see also the name of the project. will update according to which one you selected. And here below you have the properties of the project. It's alphabetic and character categorized, and of course in this case we have only one property because we are selecting the head of the project, so we have just the name. This is the only one property of the project object. If I expand this, you will see there are some other objects, and if I click on each of them on the hierarchy, they will have their properties. We will see that later in these days. If I select here one of these objects, I double click, automatically on the right side I have an editor opening. That means that these objects are containers of codes. And you can see here we have two levels of code. Okay, the first thing is this level where, for example, if I click on this workbook, I will have the workbook, the code for the file, because workbook in Excel means file, and we have the workbook code in here for the workbook object. Basically we have all the possible possible codes or subroutines assigned to the workbook object. Or I can define in the general area other functions or variables. We will see that later. Okay, it's very important to know the structure of a project which contains other objects and it has the property name, and all the other objects which compose a project may have more than one property. And we will see which kind of object can be included in a VBA project. But this is only to give you an overview of what is a Visual Basic Full Applications Editor. So we have the menu, we have the project or the list of projects, below the list of properties for the projects of all the sub-elements that we're going to click over. And on the right side we have our codes for all the elements and subroutines that can be assigned to the elements. Usually each one has here as element itself, workbook and workbook, and an area general to define general declarations or functions. So this is very important to digest at the very beginning, because this is where you have to start off. So this is the Visual Basic Editor.